How you doing, everybody? This is Jim Buck with Black Shoes Campers of Southern California out of the City of Industry. And today I'm going to do a full walkthrough of a 2020 HQ17. So let's get into this. Let's get going. So what I like to do, now we're into the HQ17, is I like to start at the front because that's the part that everybody sees first. And it's the part, I think, that really grabs a lot of people's attention. Now again, if you look, you're noticing there's a lot of downward and reverse sloping action when it comes to the front area of our campers. And that design is done on purpose, so that way it acts as a rock guard. So any rocks that are kicked up are deflected downwards or deflected away along the sides of the unit. So that way you're not striking purposely on other surfaces. Now, the bottom half of the unit, the black half, this is a aluminum diamond plate utilizing a European cut finish, not an American cut finish. And then the upper half, the silver area, this is an aluminum composites, like always as we use. So you have a sheet of aluminum, a sheet of composite material, and then another sheet of aluminum. So that way we have our strength, we have our rigidity, but we also have our lightweight capabilities as well. Now, one of the other features that we see here on the front, up towards the top, is gonna be a floodlight right up here. So we have our marker lights, and then we have our floodlights, our LED, really bright floodlights. And we have those lights all the way around. We have them on the front, we have them on the sides, and we also have another one on the rear as well. Now, as we continue on with the front, on the lower half of the front, we have two compartment doors. Now, if you've seen these units before, you would have noticed that there was a key or a lock with these cabinets. Well, for safety reasons, because this is a propane cabinet, we need to have this cabinet available for the fire department to have access to it. So that way, if there is an issue with a fire or a gas leak, they can still access it without having to worry about the lock on the front. Now, some other things that we did with this compartment, we've also added more ventilation. So that way, if there is any kind of a leak or something, we can also vent out any of the excess gases that are leaking out. The other side, the other compartment to the side of that is also still our storage compartment for our 5-gallon jerry cans. So you can put in either 5 gallons or actually 10 extra gallons of water or of gasoline or fuel, whatever fuel you may need, as well as having extra room for storage. So continuing here with the very front of our drawbar, the front of our unit, we still have our same items. We have our heavy duty Jockey Wheel. This is an HQ17. Now the 750 stands for 750 kilograms, which is about 1,680 pounds, I believe was the number. And so this is gonna be our Jockey Wheel. Now, one quick note about our Jockey Wheel, and so I'm gonna have the camera follow me here. And if you look down, now you can't actually see it because it is covered up, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna raise up the unit here really quickly, so that way you can see there is a line of demarcation to show the safety area. There is a line that's going to be a safety area. So you should never roll the unit if this is raised up above it. Otherwise, what happens is the leg will kick out, resulting in a failure, and that's not going to be covered under warranty because that's a user error. So just something to note if you're dealing with the Jockey Wheels. Now, continuing with the front end also, we have, as always, our mechanical handbrake. So you should still be utilizing a wheel chock, but you have a handbrake. So if you're disconnecting very quickly, set your handbrake, pull your vehicle away, get all disconnected, drop some chocks once you're set up. We also have two cables here on the front. One is obviously your 7-pin, so that way you hook it into your vehicle. That's gonna be running your lights, running your signals, all that kind of fun stuff. And as always, we have our Anderson plug, our 50-amp Anderson plug. And so that would plug into, if you did modify your vehicle to have an Anderson plug so you can charge up your vehicle, or if you did buy a solar panel, a portable solar panel that we sell, and that has the Anderson plug, so you can plug into that as well. So that way you're charging your battery. Now, lastly, on the front end here, we have obviously our poly block. And so this is going to allow us our adjustment for our up and down. This has a full 360-degree rotation. So that way you have your twisting and torques, you got your ups and downs for your valleys, and then the connection to the front is going to give you your turns for your vehicle. And then as always, we have our heavy duty chains, and we have a different connection with the shackle here, where instead of welding it to the frame, now we're including it, we're putting it through here like this. And then as you see this cable right here, this cable runs to this box, and then this is going to be your, essentially your emergency brake for your trailer. It's a breakaway cable. So if the trailer breaks away, the chains fell, this is what's going to pull the brakes on the trailer, so that way it doesn't keep rolling. That way the brakes will stop, they'll set, and that way it won't roll off down the road somewhere else in cases of an emergency. All right, so as we come around the corner to the entry side, which would also be the passenger side of your vehicle, we have a couple of compartments. Now, the first compartment is going to be your storage compartment, your pass-through storage. And so you can see how it passes through to the other side over there. And then we also have, if you notice right here, there's also a level that's also been introduced or included in there. So that way, when you're trying to level your unit, you have that there. But this is going to pass through to the other side. And we also have a breaker box on the other side. Now, as we go along here to the next cabinet, if you look down too, you also see, as usual, our red bars, our rock guards, to help protect that delicate edge of your unit. You know, you see so many trailers, campers, the edges of their units are just tore up from running into whatever, running into curbs as they're going out of a deep or a steep driveway or something. This isn't going to be there for the driveways. Obviously, they were more designed for rocks and stuff like that to help protect you. The second cabinet here, this is going to be where your pull-out kitchen is. Now, one of the features that they have changed, because again, this is a electric start burner. It's got a 3-burner stove, electric start. Now, the plug for the electric start used to be located exteriorly. If you have an older unit, you probably know this. But on the newer units, we've moved that plug inside. So now it's here located inside. It's protected from the elements. It's not on the outside. So now we don't have any openings. We don't have any extra holes on the outside to put that there. But here is your, as always, our nice big pull-out kitchen. All right, so now that we've talked a little bit about the kitchen, kind of showed where it is, and talked about the plug, now I'm going to show you how it pulls out and how it deploys. So very simply, you have a black tab right here, and I think sometimes they come in red, but either way, there's a tab right here. Be careful not to pinch your fingers, but you're going to push inwards on your tab, and that releases it from the clip, and it slides out. Now, there is a leg, a support leg that will come with it that will go underneath, so you would want to put out your support leg. Now, on the prep table, there are 2 support legs for the prep table. So when you open them, they're on a hinge and they're going to come out. Make sure that your support legs are up and down. They're perpendicular, okay? You don't want to be having them cocked out to the side over here or inwards. Make sure it's supported out like this. And so this is a nice big prep table. Prepare your food, do what you want to do with it. Or if you take a couple of stools, get a couple of taller bar stools, and you can use this table as an eating area as well. So that way you can continue eating outside or enjoying the outdoor environment without going inside, or maybe sitting in like a small low to the ground beach chair, something like that. So you have a couple different options of what you can do with this. Now for the sink, you have your faucet, and the faucet very simply raises it up or down. Make sure when you're putting the kitchen away, you have it in the down position. Otherwise, you're gonna hit this, you're gonna bend this and break it. All right, now the sink itself, the sink utilizes a gravity drain. So in other words, it's not tapped into your gray tank. So what you need to do, on the back side, actually underneath, there is an opening. And so you pull out, there's a hose, a drain tube that pulls down. You drop a bucket down there, you catch your gray water, and then you dispose of your gray water accordingly. Now you also have, for as part of your sink area, you have kind of this wash basin area, set your dirty dishes, whatever, before you bring them over. And then here in the far end, our 3-burner stove. So you have this lid, the lid opens up. Do not cook with the lid closed. Make sure the lid is open. You have your 3-burner stove, you have your controllers here. In order to get the fuel out, the propane out, you have to push these in. So you turn it on, and you push it in so that way you're feeding or you're getting the propane up to this area. And then this is your electric start. Now the electric start isn't working right now because I don't have my plug plugged in underneath here like I pointed out just a minute ago. And the battery's not on. Oh, I take it back, the battery is on. So make sure in order for this to work, your batteries are on, which if you're camping, they're probably gonna be on anyway. There's also a utility drawer for your cooking utensils, your eating utensils, whatever it may be. There's a storage drawer, and within the storage drawer is actually the water hose. So the water hose, what you're gonna do is you're gonna plug in the water hose here to the front of the kitchen. Make sure you plug into the dry side first, because if you plug into your unit first, you're gonna start shooting water everywhere. So you plug into the kitchen, and then underneath here, you have two connections. You have a water connection and you have a gas line connection. So the gas line connection, if I open it up the front here, I can show you, here's your gas line. So the gas line also will pull out from underneath, come around and plug in. So now you have your water connections, you have your gas connection, you have your electricity connection, all of your connections right here to use with your kitchen. So that's the general use of our outdoor kitchen. So I'm going to show you very quickly how to put it away. Now, one of the things that I did forget to mention is there's actually one more prep table area over here as well. This just slides out, slides back in, super easy. But in order to put the kitchen away, all you're going to simply do, take your prep table, make sure it's clean. You don't want to put it away dirty. Fold that back over, make sure your support legs are down. And remember, very importantly, make sure your faucet is push down, okay? Then all you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your handle here, push this back in till it locks. I like to give it a little tug just to make sure it's locked in place. Push the handle down there, close it up, lock it up, and on down the road you go. So as we continue on down, we have our step. We have a step here for obviously getting in and out. We have a vent on the door. This is a vent, so that way it allows air to flow through. As we come up here, we have our outdoor table. Now this is, they call it a prep table. It can be used as a utility table. They have drink holders here. So it's kind of whatever you want it to be. I still say you could bring, I've seen people camping with crock pots. Set your crock pot here and have your dinner cooking while you're out doing whatever it is you're doing with your camping. There's a couple outdoor plugs. You have your GFCI plug right here, 110 volts. And then you have a 12 volt lighter plug out here as well. So, and then as you look up, if you continue looking up, we have an exterior speaker. There's two exterior speakers. So that way you can turn on the radio, you can enjoy some music while you're sitting outside. And as long as you're up there, you can also see the awning that can roll out as well. So we have our awnings, and just above that, we even see an exterior antenna for our radio. So we have our radio antenna, we have our plugs, we got all our stuff. As we're moving along, we got some vents. This is our vent for your batteries. Again, more bars, we have mud flaps. As we continue around the rear, we're gonna take a look, and we have spare tires. And again, we have two full-size spare tires. So these are two 65, 75, 16-inch tires. And as you look up, one of the coolest features I like is the dual windows. So each bunk bed is gonna have their own window. And I just love how it all kind of flows together with the windows and the Black Series and HQ. It's a great look to it. I love this thing. And then if you look up a little bit higher, you even have, again, your floodlights. You got that bar light up there flooded out. Now, as you come down, if you come down just a little bit and you look underneath here, you see two tanks. That's going to be our black and our gray tank, 26 and 26 for our black and gray. And as you can see, what we've also been doing for convenience, we've been making a single connection for your discharge. So now when you're going to dump, instead of having to hook it into your black tank or your gray tank individually, now you have one discharge for your black and your gray tanks. And you can see how the pipes are wrapped as well for protection. So continuing here on the rear, one last thing to point out is our recovery shackles. We have our recovery shackles. That way, if you do end up getting stuck or caught up somewhere, instead of attaching to your frame, you can attach to your recovery shackles to help get pulled out of an area. Now, as we come around the corner, and obviously you can see down here, we have our support legs, right? So our rear support legs, we got 4 of them all the way around. And then as you come up just a little bit, you have your rock guard. And then a little bit more, you have black water tank. You see this one that says black water tank. Now what this is for is when you are dumping your tanks, you're dumping your sewer tank, you take your hose. Remember, this is gonna be a black water hose, not your drinking water hose. You don't ever wanna have the hose that you're using for your drinking water to be used as a hose for flushing out your black tank. That's why usually if you go to dump stations, they have a secondary hose that's there. Use that one to fill this tank. Do not utilize your drinking water hose, okay? You don't want to get bacteria into that. So you're gonna fill up this tank, you're gonna dump your sewer, close it back off, let it fill up a little bit, dump your sewer until you get a clean tank coming out. That's gonna be your black tank flush. As we're coming along here, we're coming along. We have our vent. This is our vent for our refrigerator. We have another 12-volt plug back here. And again, I still say, if you can find a pump, a 12-volt pump with a hose on it, and you're out boondocking, you run into an area, you find a stream, you find a water source, or even if you have your water buckets, you drop that hose in your water buckets, flip on your 12-volt pump, and then you can put the other end of your hose right here into your either general water tank or your drinking water tank. And again, as always, our HQ models have two separate water tanks. They're not interconnected in any way. So there's two water pumps, two water tanks. The general water tank is a 50-gallon general water tank. That's gonna be your showers, it's gonna be your toilet, it's gonna be your sinks with your faucets. Then you have a 16-gallon drinking water tank. That's gonna be a separate own tank with its own pump, and it's gonna work off of the water spigot. There's an extra little water spigot, a little valve that's on your kitchen sink area. You flip that on, the water is drawn up, goes through a triple filtration system. There's a 3 cartridge system the water will run through. It's filtered, that way you're drinking filtered water, not water with bacteria or whatever it is. It is filtered water. And so that way it's gonna go through your system, and that way you have clean water. So even if you run out of general water, you should still have some drinking water to be able to use. Now, one of the other features that you probably already saw when I was pointing out the drinking water and general water is this third connection, this white cap that says City Water Connection. The newest models, the newest 2020 models are now coming due to your requests with a city water connection. So if you do go to an RV park, you're not out boondocking, you're at an RV park, you get your drinking water hose, which I already mentioned, you plug it in here, you plug it into the water spigot that's there at the RV park, or if you're at home in your driveway, whatever you're doing, this is your water connection. So that way you are bypassing your water pump. So that way all of the water is gonna be coming in, your sink water, your all that water, is gonna be coming in through here instead of having to use a pump and fill up your tanks and stuff. As we come up a little bit from that, we have, I already pre-unlocked this, our exterior shower. So we have an exterior hot, cold shower. If you want to come out here, rinse off, whatever you want to do, you have a shower to do that. And as we travel up a little bit higher, again, we have another exterior floodlight that's out here as well. As we travel, we keep moving along. We have our vent. This is our heater vent. And we have that 16,000 BTU heater that's inside, underneath the bed, inside the unit. And then here's our hot water tank. We have a 6-gallon hot water tank utilized or run by propane. We have a 30-amp plug. Okay, so that would be where that would be connection. And then this is the back side of our pass-through storage. This is where you can also find that breaker box here on the back side of the unit. So that pretty much covers all of our exterior stuff, other than maybe our tires or suspension. Obviously, we do have our suspension, but that pretty much covers everything. We're gonna go inside now and take a look. So again, as always, just like all of our Black Series models, if you're looking underneath, you can see our standard Black Series suspension. You have the independent swing arms, dual shock absorbers on each arm, limiting chains, heavy duty springs. That's gonna give this unit the smoothest ride, so that way we're causing the least amount of damage to it as you are off on those boondocking roads. So here we are at the entrance door to our HQ17, and right next to our door we have a solar sensor. And so there's a light, so this is a solar panel. It obviously captures the sunlight during the day. And then in the evening hours, these lights, they come on with an ambient light, a less bright light. But then you have a motion sensor right here. And so when you get closer, the motion sensor picks up the motion and turns on a much brighter light to help illuminate your entryway to your unit. So as we get to our unit, we have a handle to help ourselves up into the door. And so we actually will open up the door here. Now, I want to show you the screens on our units, and we do have unique screens. Here you can see you have our typical screen material. We have our window shades here. Now, to release and open up our screen, there's a little lever right here. So you want to lift up that lever, and it separates the screen from our door. So I'm just going to prop open this door real quick, so that way I don't have to worry about it. And so there's a little lever here, there's a little bar right here, and that swings out of the way and kind of locks in place. Now, again, as you notice, if you notice here, now there's an opening because the lock and the handle are part of the screen. Now, one of the really nice features for our units is most trailers, they will connect and attach in one spot, which if you look up here, if I pull on this, has a weak spot here at the top, and we'll have a weak spot, same thing down here at the bottom. Now, one thing that's unique about our screens is we have 3 points of locking contact, okay? Top, bottom, and up in the middle. So when I close the screen, and you can even hear the difference, I'm gonna do it one more time. That's a way different sound just closing our screen because of this aluminum screen that's on it for protection. So when I set the lock, so now if I try to pull that top, it's only going to move the very little bit because of the play that's in there, but it's not moving, it's not loose, it's secured. So if you have a large dog or even a small dog, you have a child, a kid, whatever, the dog or the animal may get through the screen, but they're not going to get through the outer part of the screen, and then this is secured pretty well. And you can see, like I said, here's the lock for the screen on it. So we're going to open this up. This is going to reattach to the door, and then we're going to go inside. So here, as we come into the HQ17, you see again, once again, all of the high gloss veneer that we utilize in all of our HQ models. This high, beautiful wooden veneer that make up our cabinetry, as well as all of the use of our LED lighting to light up our unit really well while saving a lot of that battery energy because we are again using LED lights. Right off to the right, we see our queen size bed, as well as some great cabinetry. We have a closet to each side of it. We have touch point reading lights, one on each side, as well as a ventilation fan right in the middle, so that way you can kind of get some airflow going through. And then you have some cabinetry above the bed and to the sides of the bed as well. And again, as always, all of our cabinets have that lock touch, so you got to push the center button so that way you can open it up. Okay, so that way it stays locked while you're going down the road off on those off-roading adventures. Now, as we look down lower, as we look underneath the bed, and some people do ask, well, why isn't there more cabinet space underneath the bed? Why isn't there more storage space? Well, because underneath the bed is actual where the kitchen is stored. So you do have some level of storage. So there is one storage cabinet here. Maybe you can put your shoes, or maybe some other things if you need to, but that's about how much space you have before you get to the pass-through storage or the storage area where the kitchen would be. And then so the next to this is our propane powered heater. This is that 16,000 BTU heater, and that's how you're going to heat up this unit. 16,000 BTUs is designed to heat about 900 square feet, or about the size of a master bedroom. But here you are in this unit, and we're utilizing R16 insulation in the walls, on the floor, in the ceiling. So R16 level insulation coupled with a 16,000 BTU heater, you're going to be sitting very comfortably in the cold weather temperatures. So as we come here more into the HQ17, into our kind of kitchen area, off to the right of the kitchen, we see our TV, 24-inch screen TV with a DVD player. And what we also see, if you can kind of look around the corner, there's a couple little things that are kind of tucked away here. One, up here on this cabinet, you're going to have your thermostat for your heater, that 16,000 BTU propane heater. And if you look lower to the side of the cabinet, there's a different area, And that thermostat, you see a little thermostat control, that is the thermostat control for the silicone heat pad for your water tanks. So that way when you're in the cold weather areas, there's a thermostat controlled heat pad that's gonna warm your tanks, so that way you don't have frozen water tanks. And that's down there, as well as a plug. You saw another plug that was there. So in this kitchen area, we have, you can kind of see, there's this nice cover, all right? So you can use this as a prep area for your food or whatever, even a serving area. But if you open it up, we have a dual combination. We have a 2-burner stove and we have our sink. So that way we have that nice, easy convenience of having the two together. We have our controls for our burner and again, our sink. Now, again, we still have this, like I mentioned, we have that 50-gallon and the 16-gallon. This is going to be the spigot for your drinking water. So this one that's in here, that's going to be going off of your 50-gallon general water tank. And then this one here is going off of your 16-gallon drinking water tank. As we come up, we have a vent with a fan with lights up here. So that way when you're doing your cooking, you have a way to vent it out and you have some light. As we come up a little bit higher, we have our microwave. And again, our microwave can be run off of our inverter as well as our TV. You would want to flip on your inverter. That way you can run your microwave and you can run your TV. And your batteries, so there's going to be 4 of them, 4 AGM batteries, 100 amp hours a piece, or 400 amp hours. They're going to be powering these different appliances for you as well as your lighting. Now, in order to keep those charged, we still have 2 150-watt solar panels up on the roof. So you have 300 watts of total power charging your batteries. Underneath the dinette seat, we have a 2,000-watt inverter, so that way that's going to be turned on to power your microwave and your TV. Now, here in the ceiling area, we have this large white panel cover thing again. And so again, this is the controller for our roof-mounted HD antenna, the high-definition antenna for our TV. Now you can see there's no lights, it's not on, because there is a secondary switch that turns it on. And so again, if you come into this cabinet here, you open this up, and here's a black box. And so there's a switch, you flip on that switch, we have our green light. When I have that on, we come down here and look, now we have our HD antenna is on. Now, the HD antenna, these lights are supposed to indicate whether you have a good signal or a weak signal. And now, it does have this little paddle right here with a little squeeze handle. Now again, if I turn it, it doesn't sound good. There is a release button. You squeeze that release button, and as you squeeze the release button, it allows you to turn the antenna so that way you can get the strongest signal possible for your TV viewing pleasure and enjoyment. Now, as we continue looking at the upper area, the ceiling area, we have again this nice matte finish cover, so that way we have a nice strong roof to us. We also have, as part of the roof, we have an aluminum sheet as making up our roof, covering as part of our framing, and then we have everything connected very nicely. We use, again, the puck lights, and as we come along here, we have this large vent. Now, the large vent right now, we have a lot of light coming in. Well, I say, you know what, there's bugs and stuff. Well, there is a bug screen that pulls across and will actually attach to your privacy screen. So you have your privacy screen or you have a bug screen. Now, the thing is too, that is nice about this, is it has the LED lighting, which helps light it up. But there's a switch here. You can turn off the LED lighting if you want, or leave it on. And then you also have the ability to open up this vent. So you pull on this bar, push it up. It is a shock assisted lift. So that way it's nice and easy. So now we have a great way, a nice large area to help get out the warm air that does build up in a trailer. If you're not in it, you don't have your AC on, you get the air out very quickly once you open up some of the screens of these large windows. Now, let's say you want it to be vented just a little bit. You do see a couple little tabbies here, okay? You can see these up in here. And so what you actually do is you bring this down, you bring the bar down, and you put the bar in that area, and this tab pulls across, and this tab pulls across. So now you have this vent locked in a half open area, so you can allow for a little bit of ventilation without having it wide open if you don't want it wide open, and you don't run the risk of it blowing open from the wind or something like that. So back here in the kitchen cabinetry area, we have several different cabinets. Now the top one, it gives you some access to underneath the sink area. You can store a few things under here. The second one is going to be your utensil drawer. Now the utensil drawer also has a soft one. Let me push a little harder. A soft close, so you can't slam it. You push it over, it grabs it, pulls it in. And then when you get underneath under here, we do have area underneath here. Now the idea is because of our hoses and all the electronics and stuff, we don't want you to use this area for storing stuff that might possibly cause damage to some of the electronics and the water pumps and stuff like that. And you can see right back in there, that's where your water filter is as well. So you have your triple filtration system. That's your water pumps in there, but that's so that way we can kind of discourage the use of this area and causing possible damage to any of your equipment underneath there. So as we come up, we come over here. If we get to the top half right here, we look, and this is our control center. So this is going to be our area is telling us how much voltage, how much current, how much energy, and how much power is being brought in and being utilized from the solar panels to all of the lights being used. We have our water heater switches, so we have electricity, so that's going to be working off of your 30 amp, not your batteries. And then this is the propane switch. So this is going to be between the two. Then you have your water gauges for your drinking water, your general water, your gray and your black tanks. And then you have your 2 pump switches, as well as all of your breakers, because again, we don't use fuses, we use breakers to help break this all down. So we have our control panel there. Below our control panel is our fridge freezer. So we have a nice full-size fridge, or at least RV fridge, I should say. And then we have our freezer and our fridge. So a lot of nice area we can fit in there, and we can get, you know, it's a substantial amount of food, I should think, to carry along with us. And then we even have another little cabinet way down here. Now in the cabinet here, we have this control valve. Now this is a hot water control valve. So kind of like the hot water heater in your home, we want to make sure that people are protecting themselves. They're not running the water too hot, causing scalds or burns. And then we also have our water pumps under here. So that way we can have the water going in. So as we travel along, we come up, we have our air conditioning. Now, you know, if I stand up straight, yeah, I can, you know, get my head to hit it. But if you notice, I do have room in here. I have a little bit of room above me. The height in here, our internal height, is 6'3". So from the floor to the ceiling, you're looking at 6'3". Here, you're looking at maybe about 6 foot or so, 6'1"-ish for our air conditioner. Now, our air conditioner also doubles as a heat pump. It's the air conditioner and heat pump. And the heat pump is utilized for cold weather mornings. If you don't want to crank up your propane powered heater and you have power, you're plugged in, or maybe you're running a generator, you can turn on your heat pump. So instead of the cold air blowing in and the hot air blowing out, it's reversed, since you're actually blowing the hot air in and the cold air out. So that way you can kind of take away that morning chill. So that's how our heat pump works, or because it's not a true heater. You're not going to be able to run it for long periods of time like you can with a regular heater. So as we come along, and you notice above my head here is a speaker. We do have 2 speakers here in our unit. We got one here at the back, and we have one up at the front in the queen bed area. So again, we have music throughout our unit as we're going along. So you get into these areas, you get into the back areas, and we have our wet bath. So as I open up this door here and we look inside, we have our wet bath. So we have a nice little sink in the corner there. We have our toilet. So you ask yourself, well, where's my shower faucet? Because you see, there's no shower faucet in there. Well, that's one of our little tricks. We like to use the sink. We like to use the faucet on the sink. So this pulls out. This is your shower head for our faucet. And then we have a little rack here. You can hang towels or whatever you need. So we have our sink, we have our toilet, and again, we also have our vent fan up there. Our vent fan with extra little lighting on it. So that way you can, you know, kind of light your way. Even though there's lighting in there already, we have a little extra lighting to help light you up so that way you can see. And the switch for that, the plug to turn on that light, is this switch out here. This switch is very simple. It's just a push on, push off switch to turn your lights on and off. So here in the back of our HQ17, again, is our bunk beds. So as you come back in here and you look, we have a nice foam pad, memory pad here, and each bunk will have its own DVD player. It's like a DVD and USB, several different functions that you can play with. Each bunk has its own window with privacy screen and bug screen, and each window will open up. And then there's also in the corner over there, you see a little touch light, so that way you have a reading light, as well as the switch for the regular puck light to light up the area. And over here in the other corner, you see a little 12-volt fan, so that way each bunk will have its own little fan for airflow through the area, so that way you don't get stagnant air and you get warm back in the area. So that way the bunks have their kind of own privacy. Each bunk does have a screen that will pull across. They'll have their own privacy there. So that way, you know, again, they have their own little private bunk area as they wish. And then again, there's the lower bunk that's right here. And then at the base down there, you see there's a pull-out drawer, a very nice, large pull-out drawer, which is really nice. You can put some clothes in there or whatever you wish to do with it. As we come into our dining area, now I've already kind of moved a few pads here so we can get to our dining area. And again, I'd like to point out the marine grade like faux leather that we have on our seating with our diamond pattern, which is typical of all of our HQ models. This nice, really unique kind of diamond pattern. I really love this and the stitching and everything to it. But under this dinette seat, if you look down here, we'll flip this up. Like I said, I've already moved the pads. We have our 4 AGM batteries. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 AGM batteries. There's a complete battery cutoff switch. So in the green means all the batteries are on, and in the red means everything is turned off. And you see some breaker switches here. You have a control panel, the towing vehicle, solar control, inverter. So there's other breakers that are all fit into the system. And then you have your battery charger control right here mounted against the wall of the inside of this area as well. So this is also going to be your area. You can also switch into a bed. So this would be a 5th bed. So you'd have 2 in your queen bed, 1 in each of your bunks here. And then this also folds down. There's a little handle right here. We find that. You clip this, you push this down, it folds down, and then you take your pads, the pads that are here and here, they set here, and then there's a 3rd pad that was set across this table, creating another bed, a 5th bed. So this is going to be your bedding area for that 5th person if you need it. Now underneath this dinette seat, as we come down here and we look, this is going to be your inverter. This is our 2,000 watt inverter. Now again, and I've mentioned this before, I have another video out about it. You do see an on-off switch on the top there. And so that switch should always be left in the off position, because the switch you're going to be utilizing is going to be the satellite switch. Now the satellite switch is going to be over here on the upper cabinet area. So you have your satellite switch here, which you have your inverter on, inverter off, and you have your power saver auto. Do not use the power saver auto switch. You want to use inverter on and inverter off only. So you would turn it on. Now we would be on inverter power. You'll hear the microwave beep in a second here. So our microwave they're working. Our TV would be working now, but you would want to be utilizing the satellite switch and not the switch on the inverter itself when you're in use. Obviously here right next to this, we also have our Kenwood radio. Now the radio is going to be able to shuffle your speakers between your inside and outside. Usually it's set up off of the fade. Fade forward, fade backward, fade right, fade left. That's where the settings are going to be, so that way you can get your inside speakers to work and then your outside speakers to work. It has to do with your fade and what you have your settings on. So along the top right here, we have our cabinetry along with our locking handles right here. So we have some nice cabinet space right here to store things. Right now we have boxes for our radio and some other cables and stuff, extra things that go along with the unit. So yeah, those are nice to keep everything locked. Below that we have our window. Now again, we have our bug screen, we have our privacy screen, or if it's nighttime, you still want to have your window open, you still have your shade, or your blinds, I should say, not a shade, excuse me. You pull this down, that way you have blockage of the sun or the morning light, you know, whatever's coming in. And then on each side, there's a dual plug. Now one plug is like a lighter plug, so a 12-volt DC lighter plug. The other one is a USB plug. So it's got 2 USB ports. next to this, you see another plug and it says inverter. So in order to make this plug work, you would have to have your inverter in the on position, so that way you can use that plug. And if you go to the other side of the table, we have the exact same setup. We have the 12-volt plug right here, like the lighter plug, and then we have the dual zone for your USB plugs and another USB plug too, or excuse me, inverter plug as well. And then obviously on each side, we have our touch lights for our reading lights, touch them, turn them on and off. And if we go just a smidge further here, at our entry area, we have our switches. Now this one large square one, that shuts all of our power off. That shuts everything off. We got no more lights, turns everything back on. These three switches here control our internal lights, our puck lights, our LED lighting, all that stuff. And again, these rocker switches, they control our floodlights outside. So if you push it to the front, it could, I don't know which the settings are, that would turn on like the front floodlight. This would turn on the rear floodlight. This would turn on the right side floodlights, the left side floodlights. You hit each one of them again and it turns them all off. So one of the things I did want to point out was about this Windows. And like I said, I've already talked about the bunk screen and the privacy screen. So I'm just going to show, to release it, you push for a release and it separates. You can push down your bunk screen. You can push up your privacy screen. And so the locks for these, now this is actually unlocked right now. So there's no button to push. Now the old ones used to have a button you had to push to release. The new ones do not do that. You very simply just twist it and it'll pop open. Now the windows do ratchet. They do have different levels that they go up, okay? And then they will come closed. Now again, there's two different settings. If you can kind of see here in the track, you see two different teeth. So if you pull it close all the way, you see the tab closes on the back side, and that's how you have a tight closed seal. Now you can also, if you say, well, I just want a little bit of airflow, if you close it right in the middle of the two teeth, now there's just a slight gap. So that way you're not completely sealed. You have a little bit of airflow through. Maybe it's a chilly night out, but it's warm inside because the heater, let's just get a little bit of cool air. But that's going to be your way to open and close and lock your windows. So there you have it, everybody, the HQ17, the 2020 HQ17 full walkthrough. Hopefully I got everything covered for you. Hopefully you don't have any questions. If you do have questions, be sure to contact us. Let us know. We'll get the answer out to you as best we can and as soon as we can. So again, get out there, reimagine your destination with Black Series and an HQ17. Again, this is Jim Buck, Black Series Campers in Southern California, out of the city of Industry, saying take care, everybody. We'll see you out there. How you doing, everybody? This is Jim Buck with Black Series Campers of Southern California, out of the city of Industry. And we hope that you enjoyed the last video of a series that we just got finished watching. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to ask to make sure that you please like and subscribe to our channel so that way you can see all of the videos that are coming up in our series. So make sure that you get out there, you smash that bell up in that corner up there. And again, this is Jim Buck with Black Series Camper, saying we hope you enjoyed that video. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.